Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm coming to you because I want to share with you a dynamic in regarding the whole Colin Kaepernick thing that we have going on right now. Because I think that from what I've been seeing in media, a lot of people are really missing the underlying issue of the whole Colin Kaepernick kneeling dynamic, okay? And if we're not smart, we're going to miss out on a real good opportunity to further the awakening of the consciousness of our people. Because what this brother did may not seem like a lot to the average person, but absolutely what he did was something that was real deep beyond the scope of the average person in terms of recognizing how kneeling before the national anthem absolutely brings attention, according to what he said, in terms of the recent rash of police brutality that has happened among our people in recent years. Now, we know that this is something that has been going on ever since we've been in this land in terms of the abuse, the torturing, the raping, the disenfranchisement of our people. And just in recent years, we have been brought to attention concerning police brutality in many cities. Just like in LA some 20, 30 years ago, when rap groups like NWA were bringing that to our attention. And if you didn't live in LA, you were like, wow, how bad could it be? But they knew how bad it was. And we see how that was not only depicted in NWA raps, but in other rappers and even in movies like Boys in the Hood. But these things were not just limited to there. These things have happened all over the place, okay? Because the truth of the matter is that we are not now and have never been full citizens of this country. Okay, you need to get that understood. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what size of the house you live in. I don't care what kind of car you drive. I don't care about any of that. You are still not considered to be a full citizen here in this country. Okay, and in recent years, you have seen, unless you've been living under a rock, the rash of murders, police murders, killing innocent people and brutalizing our people. And it don't just stop there. Many of these cases don't even go to court. Okay, and when they go to court, the vast majority of these cases, the offender gets acquitted, you know. And we have become so desensitized that we have come to even celebrate when a police officer has gotten suspended from the force or he might have gotten fired from the force, okay? Forget about him being placed in the court and convicted and given jail time for these killings that are going on, okay? So I don't have to get deep into the things that we have been subjected to here in this land since we've been here. That's not debatable, okay? The thing that I want to speak out in terms of what this brother Colin Kaepernick did in terms of sacrificing his career and a lot of other things so that he can awaken the consciousness of us, okay? And right now, at this present time right now, we're dealing with a dynamic in regarding the NFL blackballing Colin Kaepernick. And a lot of you are out there up in arms in regarding this situation. And what I'm here to tell you is that I don't want you guys' focus to be misappropriated by that dynamic. Because what happens if an NFL team wise up and say, you know what, the only way that we can put this movement to rest is if we go ahead and sign him to a team, even if he's just a backup quarterback, and then everything will be all good. And for many of you all that's sleeping out there, everything would be all good. Because right now you are more focused on him being blackballed by the league for nothing illegal that he has done, only that he have decided to make a stand and to make a statement for our people. But we have forgotten the whole dynamic of why he was kneeling in the first place. And that must be our focus. It has to be our focus, because if it's not, we will lose sight of the whole thing in regarding what he is absolutely attempting to do. And that is to wake us up. All right. Now, those of you who don't know me, my name is Josiah Israel. I am a Moray teacher in the Hebrew Israelite community. My ministry is called the Spirit of Yah. As a Hebrew Israelite Moray, we understand that the underlying reason of why we're going through what we're going through is because of what our forefathers failed to do. When the Father made an everlasting covenant with them and they disregarded the covenant, and therefore as a result of that, we have been placed into captivity into every nation on this earth, and primarily here in North America, in the United States of America, okay? But the thing about this is that, and this is to my Hebrew aware people, we have to understand how the Father operates, okay? And I don't want to get too deep in this, but I'm trying to wire you up on some things here, okay? As Israelite aware, we get so caught up in our culture and what we know to do and how we need to be and how everybody else have been deceived through Western European religion or Arabic religion or whatever, but we have the truth, and therefore this is what we have to come across with the people. True enough. But let me ask you this. When we were in Israel 400 plus years, in Egypt, we were there, okay? You can best believe that at least among Aharon or Aaron and maybe a few others there in Egypt, that there were some that understood the dynamic of the Father and his word and all that, even while we was in captivity. Yet the Father operated in us in our deliverance through that one that was raised up as an Egyptian, not raised up as an Israelite, knowing certain things in regarding to our heritage and the laws and all that. No. And the dynamic is really deep when you really think about it, because after the Father did a work with Moshe in terms of bringing him out of Egypt, and he finds himself in Midian, and he's there for 40 years, the Father talks to him directly and brings him up on the mount and introduces himself. And he lets him know that, Moshe, your job is to go back down to Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. When you look and read for yourself Exodus the 3rd chapter, Exodus the 4th chapter, and that whole dynamic of the Father dealing with Moshe, Moshe is communicating with him and he's trying to get all these questions answered. Like, okay, when I go and I tell the people that you sent me, they want to know your name and everything. And the Father's like, look, okay, I want you to focus on what I'm telling you right now. You're asking all of these questions here, but that's not what you need to be dealing with right now. You have a job to do. And after you do this job, then all the things that you want to know, you're going to get. Now, it's not absolutely written like that, but when you absolutely read it for yourself and see how the Father is dealing with them, you'll understand that this is how the Father was dealing with Moshe. So the dynamic is that the people who have been under an Egyptian mindset for all of these years have to first come up out of Egypt in order to elevate themselves into a nation of people. Okay? And again, read it for yourself and understand that he didn't go into Egypt and start teaching the people and giving them all the laws and statutes and this, that, and the other while they were there in Egypt. First things were first. Okay? The same dynamic with Abraham. Okay? Abraham had a very rudimentary understanding, but he had enough because the Father dealt with him according to his faith. Even though Abraham lived in a very, for a lack of, I'm going to say, idolatrous culture there in Nimrod's Babylon, basically, right? In Ur of Chaldees, his father, Terah, he was an idol maker, an idol worshiper. Yet the Father found grace in Abraham and was dealing with him. And he gave him a command as well. And that is, all this that you have been used to living, that you call home, you have to leave and go into that place that you have never been before. And then it's there that he will deal with Abraham and cause him to grow in the wisdom and might of the Most High. This is how the Father operates. So when I look at this individual, Colin Kaepernick, and the things that he's doing, I am not going to take it lightly concerning what he's doing. Because what he's doing is this. Even though he says, I'm taking a knee, and I'm taking a knee to protest against bringing awareness to all of the police brutality that's going on. Guess what? It's really deeper than that. It's really deeper than that. Because when he took a knee to the anthem, this is an anthem that this country had been saying for years, that they have taught our people, and we, because we have been indoctrinated into this system, have been also saying, along with the Pledge of Allegiance and all these things, most of us did not even know about that third verse in the national anthem until it came to light just recently. And it only came to light because of what? Because this brother took a stand. And now we hear about in the national anthem how this place that we live in, it can't even be a refuge for us, the slave. But most of us didn't even know that verse was in there, okay? So what's happening is that through this brother's actions, he's awakening our conscience to understand that this America system that we were born and raised into don't belong to us. It's not who we are. We have never been considered to be citizens here in this country, and we will never, ever, ever attain to what the real citizens of this country attain to, even though They have tried with this integration and the segregation. All those things were not what they appear to be, but they were assimilation because it was already bad enough. And most of us don't understand the dynamic of having your own name, speaking your own tongue. But these were the things that we have been deprived of well over 400 some plus years. And without knowledge of who you are not considered even to be a full human being, not only to the citizens of this land, but wherever else that you go. And I know some of you may doubt what I'm saying, but those who are not us, they understand full well what I'm saying. They can't imagine not having their identity. They can't imagine not knowing what their ethnicity is. That is far from their dynamic. And yet, we have become so used to it. Think about it. Your ancestor, a real human being that lived over 300, 400 years ago, guess what? Their whole consciousness is non-existent. While our oppressor can go back and say, well, my last name is Washington, and Washington came from my grandfather, my father's father, my father's father, all the way back to the old country, and then I can take you back further than there, because they understand who they are, and who they are allows them as a people to function in a certain way. That there are certain things as a people they will not allow to happen among themselves, and they are willing to die for. We've had our culture, identity, and our names taken away from us. So we can't, no matter how much we grasp, relate to the same things they relate to. We'll get up there and stand up with them saying the Pledge of Allegiance. But guess what? No matter how much you emulate them, that Pledge of Allegiance means a whole lot to them, because what it means to them is that their forefathers came into this quote unquote new world, gave their ancestors grants and land and free labor to work that land. And many of them have that same wealth even today. That wealth didn't just disappear. So when they get up there and say the Pledge of Allegiance or celebrate events like Thanksgiving, you think you're doing the same thing they're doing. But you don't have nothing to be thankful for, not what they have to be thankful for. You don't have that same dynamic of a Pledge of Allegiance like they do. And when you hear many of them get up and say, that's not constitutional, that's unconstitutional, whatever, you don't even understand what they're talking about. Because they're talking about their culture, their heritage, and they dare anybody to defy that is all about them, which is this country's constitution. The same constitution that deemed us as 3/5 of a human. And see, we hear that and we are insulted by it, but they have absolutely made us to be 3/5 of a human. Because when you are carrying somebody else's name and you are following somebody else's traditions and cultures and all of those things that don't even pertain to you, guess what? You are maybe considered to be a little bit more than a pet. And in slavery days, pets had better lives than we did. So again, when we're dealing with police brutality and we're scratching our heads trying to figure out Why are these guys continually getting away with that? Why are nobody being convicted after they done killed this person innocent? You saw the video, you saw the tape. It's happening on a week-to-week basis, but it's only happening because we have videotapes to see this. But these things have always been going on among us. It's only coming more to light because we're able to see these things. Just like back during a Rodney King trial. Remember that? That was probably one of the first video tapings that we were able to see. And we were able to feel the injustice when those police officers marched out of the courtroom being acquitted. I can't even count how many times that Rodney King dynamic and the George Zimmerman dynamic, and I can keep going on and on and on and on. The fact that you're supposed to be a citizen and you can't even have a stand your ground defense, but somebody that's chasing after you with a weapon, they are the ones as citizens, real citizens, that have the right to say, I stood my ground. And they're alive, and the person that they allegedly stood their ground with is dead. Okay? Understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. Most of you are not going to like it because you don't want to be awakened. But the point that I'm making is this. Is that Colin Kaepernick has awakened the conscience of many of our brothers and sisters to do what? To understand that that we have pledged allegiance to all this time, that we have followed after their cultures and have did all these things because our forefathers were forced to do those things. And the forefathers that were before the ones that came over on this land, they are forgotten. They are non-existent in our mind. The enemy have succeeded in doing what they have wanted to do for a long time ago. And I wasn't going to get deep into scriptures because, again, I'm trying to get you all to understand this from the level of where we at right now. But for those who understand, Psalms 83, it talks about the confederacy of nations that came against Israel, that we should be cut off and we should no more be a people. Psalms 83. They have been very successful in causing that to happen, okay? But again, I don't want to go over many of you heads right now. I just want you to understand that right now, it's all about calling attention to the fact that this land, America, KKKA, is not our home. It's absolutely our enemy and has been our enemy and will continue to be our enemy, because these heathens are highly upset with what Colin Kaepernick is doing. And most of you all don't even understand why they're upset like that. But they're upset because everything that they have devised to do to keep us mentally dead, to keep us to be mentally unaware of being a full human, has failed. Because they would have wanted us to forget about, that's been over 200 years ago when you was in chains. Forget about those things. And most of us have failed for that okie doke. But guess what though? The Father, the creator of heaven and earth, was not going to allow those things to just go by just like that. Okay? So anyway, we need to continue to rise up and to elevate our people through action, okay? Before there was a Colin Kaepernick, as I was just talking to my brother, Moray Yeshe, in LA, and we just had a great conversation on this, and he absolutely brought this up in regarding the people in the past that have came up and have tried to elevate in their own way our consciousness, but yet because we were so caught up in this slave mentality, we were not able to get to where we needed to be through those movements, okay? And I'm not even talking about the social leaders that we had, like Marcus Garvey, who was absolutely a great underappreciated leader of his time. And man, many of y'all need to get on YouTube and look at these documentaries concerning him. What he did was phenomenal, okay? Even in the dynamic of the Nation of Islam, okay? Some of you all may not want to hear this, but even they had a part, because what they did in their time was also bring about a certain level of consciousness to let you know that, hey, we have to have a different mentality, different from the slave mentality of America. Okay, we are a much better people than they want us to be. Okay, but now we are in 2017, and right now, in order for us to get to that higher level of understanding, we have to first put in some work on this level. And this level is a level that the Father had moved Colin Kaepernick to be in. And that is, hey, while you all are up here saying Pledge Allegiance, I am going to not say the Pledge of Allegiance. And this happened before. He hadn't been the first, admittedly. You done had Muhammad Ali get up and do that thing. You done had Muhammad Rauf, the brother played basketball some 15 years ago. He did the same thing. Okay? And then he eventually stopped playing basketball. They wanted to stop Muhammad Ali from boxing, because he was very outspoken in showing this country that he was not Cassius Clay, the nigger. Okay? And they put all these other, I'm going to say it, niggers against him, opposing him with their quote unquote patriotic beliefs. Whether we're talking about a George Foreman or Joe Frazier and all of them, that was a very deep time. But Muhammad Ali prevailed against that, and in his prevailing, even through that, he woke up the consciousness of many of our people in his day. Okay? So, just like I told my brother earlier, I'm not going to continue to praise the work of these men, these great men, some who have even given their lives for the awakening of our people, without doing my part to awaken our people. That's why in this movement, and I have absolutely in this movement hashtag kneel with Cap. Kneel with Cap. And what does that mean, kneel with Cap? That means that what I want to invite all of you on the sound of my voice to do, to come together and during this football season, because a lot of you all want to boycott, and boycotting is good. That's cool. Watch where you put your money. Don't buy NFL tickets. Don't buy NFL jerseys or anything like that, you know. Now, whether you want to go to sport bars or whatever and watch the game for free, whatever, hey, that's on you. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want to put your money into that, that's fine. But boycotting in itself is not going to be the answer. Okay? Because let me tell you what's happening. Let me tell you the time that we're living in right now. So some of you all may not understand this. Because I saw a brother had posted earlier, which made me think about this. He said, "Hey, there's a NFL has a negative dynamic going on with Colin Kaepernick, and they get negative press because they're not signing him." But guess what? What we have learned in these recent years, that any negative press against us, guess what? You become the president of the United States. Because that negativity will get the support of the citizens of America. So that boycotting is not going to be enough. What has to happen is that we have to let the people know that we are not going to just sit idly by while all of these injustices are going on. So one of the things that I absolutely am, and I'm sure other people have, I see that Spike Lee, he has a thing going on in August, in a few weeks from right now, in which he's going to do a rally in regarding Colin Kaepernick. But see, and that's the thing. I'm not sure the whole scope of the Spike Lee thing, but from the surface of what I'm seeing, and I hope I'm wrong, I think it's all about the fact that Colin Kaepernick is not playing football, and let's not let that be our focus, because the moment one of these owners wise up like Branch Rickey did 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and said, "I'm going to destroy the Negro League by signing a Negro to this." And whereas all the other NFL owners, not NFL, Major League owners didn't understand the wisdom of Branch Rickey. You understand what I'm saying? But guess what? At the end of the day, they all benefited, and we the one that lost out. But because our ignorance, we were celebrating Jackie Robinson going into the major leagues, because that league that y'all got ain't major. Even though y'all are beating our asses every time we play an exhibition game, but notwithstanding, y'all are not major. Y'all are the Negro leagues. And guess what? If they get wise again, they will do just that. Sign Colin Kaepernick for a quarterback position, backup, whatever, and then we'll be like, yeah, everything is good. All right, we won. You didn't win anything. Because Colin Kaepernick, even himself, ain't stopped dealing with what he's dealing with and trying to wake us up to what's happening. Wake us up to the fact that, hey, we are people. We do not have to sit idly by while all of this police brutality is going on, while all of these different injustices are going on. So that's why I am inviting you all during this football season to, if you live in a town that has a football team, go at the beginning of those games, not in the games, but outside those stadiums, and as they play the national anthem, take a knee. Take a knee. Because you know what? The enemy hates the fact of anybody that have the audacity to insult the national anthem, to insult that has empowered them for all of these years and have diminished you all of these years. They are highly insulted by that, absolutely. But stop admiring all the great men that have stood up, and now you make that stand. Black Lives Movement, BLM, get on top of this. Gather your ranks and go down to these stadiums and take that knee when that national anthem plays. And after that national anthem plays and you took that knee, get up and go on about your business. Do whatever it is that you want to do. But what you have done is allowed the people to understand that first and foremost, no, it's not foremost, I say first, that we absolutely support the efforts of this brother who have absolutely given a lot for this movement in terms of letting you all know that, wait a minute, we need to separate ourselves mentally from all of the things that we have allowed ourselves to be indoctrinated in. Oh, absolutely. And you have to be willing to give up some things. But that's what this struggle is all about. Stop praising others and take a stand and be a part of this struggle. Kneel with Cap. Hashtag. And I hope that some of you understood what I'm saying here. And I hope some of you take action, okay? See you guys out there on the forefront. Peace.